Hello everyone, this is Worm. Welcome to the testimony of Trixie Glimmer Smith. My name is Trixie Glimmer Smith. Do I get a... Okay. Right, it's 2 weeks till my coursework deadline. Time to start this report on... Blue Hill County Cultural Export, 1800s to 1900. Are you just saying that to yourself? I sat and stared at the brief for about 10 minutes. Okay, no more slacking. It's time to get to work. Notice I just clicked on into a 2-hour video essay about memes on video.com. Well, then click off of it. Alright, any more time to be distracted? There was a loud knock at my door. I jumped, knocking my cereal over. Milk and chocolate-covered sugar flakes spilled across my generic student accommodation carpet. Someone outside yelled. Trixie Glimmer Smith, open up. We have something to discuss. Uh-oh. Organized in voice. It was Nikita, my course's top student. We didn't talk often because she's kind of horrible. I slammed the spacebar and quickly opened up a website about sheep. It wasn't really relevant to my work, but I hoped it might look educational enough to make Nikita judge me slightly less. Nikita scared the crap out of me. I didn't want her to keep her waiting, so I ignored the puddle of chocolate milk leaving into my carpet and opened the door. Nikita immediately marched straight into my room without asking and ended up up into my desk. Right, Trixie, you have to do me a favor. Not after coming in here all angrily. Her eyes briefly glanced at the cereal puddle, but quickly locked back onto me like the lasers of a sniper rifle trained on my skull. I immediately sat back down in my chair and looked up at Nikita. I probably looked pretty subby. It would almost be kind of hot if I wasn't a fucking loser. Alright, warning for sexual terminology. Hey Nikita, how are you Look, Trixie, did you just slap me? I hadn't bailed you out last term by doing your coursework for you, you'd be fucking dead, right? I mean, not that far. You'd be living in a bush and eating dirt because you don't want to go home with your family and admit you fucked up your education by sleeping through an entire term. I mean, that's a little harsh. I'd also been playing video games, writing raunchy fanfiction, and growing breasts. It'd be nice to get some recognition for that for once. I know it was. But listen, my point is, you owe me big time for literally saving your life. You didn't literally save my life, what the fuck? Whatever. Look, I just want you to find me a play script. It's easy. Oh, is that all? I mean, sure I can do that. I guess you did help me a lot, right? Sorry, it's just, you were being really aggressive, so I assumed you were going to make me kill someone or something. Tabby, maybe. You hate her. Miss Knight is a try-hard bitch wasting everyone's time by running against me for student president, but I don't need her dead. I need to keep her around to make me look good. Tabby keeps psycho crystals in her bra to prevent lunar interference, which I'm pretty sure isn't even a word. That's a pretty low standard to make you look good. Felt pretty bad saying that. Tabby was really nice, even though she was a little quirky and didn't really notice me. That said, interference definitely isn't a word. I'm not very likable, so I need all the help I can get. Anyway, shut up. Your laptop is playing a video called Sheep Falling Over Compilation 6, while your coursework paper is titled, and I quote, Starred Soon. So are you going to help me, or am I just going to have to never bail you out of one of your fuck-ups again? I glanced out at my laptop. EpicSheepFalls.com wasn't as educational as I thought. Fine. What do you want exactly? More specific than just a play script? Last night, I was walking back from the library when I noticed some paper fluttering around. I don't usually make a point of picking stuff up off the floor, but something drew me to it. I picked it up and realized it contained writing. I read it right there in the courtyard. When I finished reading, I stood in silence for some time. I'd read an excerpt from The King in Yellow. I don't know how it got there, but I'm certain if that page was there, then the rest must be nearby. A surviving copy of the infamous cursed play. Do you realize how important that is? I'd heard rumors of The King in Yellow and of the ghastly writings within. I very much doubted Nikita had found a page laying around at university. Copies were meant to be impossible to get hold of, supposedly all lost, hidden, or burnt long ago. Wow, I always assumed that play was kind of a myth. Are you sure it was legit? Maybe just found part of someone's fanfiction. Nikita slammed her fist onto my desk with a bang. I know it's real. Sorry. It's okay, you're probably right. Only a real loser would write fanfiction about the King in Yellow. The completed play would be of immeasurable importance to my studies. I could write an entire thesis analyzing how it has affected folklore both locally and worldwide. I need the full copy. Now, after the initial shock of finding it set in, I started sneezing. I concluded there must be some kind of allergen on the paper. I happened to be allergic to exactly one thing in the world. Not being a bitch? Shut the fuck up. I'm allergic to daffodils. Daffodil Lane is a few miles from here. I happen to know that the lane has a lot of daffodils, hence the shitty name. Given their relative rarity elsewhere in the country, I believe the paste may have originated there. I'd rather avoid going there myself. I'm too important to get mildly uncomfortable. Besides, I'm busy brainstorming slogans for my student union presidency campaign. Right now, I'm thinking knowledge through unity, unity through Nikita. Oh, jeez. Whatever. What broke? As a thank you for me saving your life, you're kindly going to Daffodil Lane and finding the rest of that play for me. Good, thanks. I still wasn't convinced there would be anything to find, but I kind of wanted Nikita to leave my room before she noticed I'd left some of my underwear on the floor. I mean, I hadn't agreed yet, but fine, I'll go. Just stop being so rude to me. It's not a good work relationship. Fantastic. Thank you for being so accommodating, Trixie. I'll let you get on with it. I have some books to read. Nikita brushed some dust off her shirt and left without a goodbye. According to my laptop, it was still pretty early. I guess I should get going. I may as well get this over with so Nikita stops bothering me. I found some snacks. I knew I would need them on my quest, errand, whatever this crap was. A 20-pack of cheese ropes. I fucking love artificial flavorings. I found my phone under an old shirt. Not that it came in much use. It can basically only take calls and receive messages after years of wear and tear. My phone's light flickers unless you constantly shake it like a maraca, so I brought along a torch as well. A torch seemed like one of those things that was good to have when you're looking for things. In retrospect, I should have made sure it had batteries in it before I left. I crammed everything into my bat bag. A lot of people accuse me of having a bat fetish because of all my bat products, but it's not true. I just like that bat cartoon Cyber Dre Coolgas from space from a few years ago, but there's no official merchandise for it. Those bats are really cute. Anyway, I got distracted by my laptop for a while. Well, like 3 hours, but I got a lot of work done. How much fanfiction did you write? Kinda. Fanfiction is very good. The 2-hour trek through the countryside during the worst heat wave in a century took its toll on me. I'd never been good with summer. I usually just hide inside, so I'd underestimate how hard it would be out in the sun. It was also about here I realized I never cleaned up the cereal on my floor. I did eventually reach Daffodil Lane. I took a little rest in some shade and got my bearings. Phew. I hope the weather gets worse soon. I could use some rain to cool me off. Took a look down the lane from my vantage point. 4 quaint little cottages dotted the dirt road, and at the far end was the tree line of Blue Hill Woods. I've been in the woods once before as part of my course. They were old and filled with interesting landmarks. I considered taking a walk in them once I sorted out all the play stuff. It was probably cooler under the trees. Oh no. Hi! Ah! A small, rather eccentric-looking rabbit had appeared behind me while I was distracted. Before I could say anything, he held out a weird yellow string. Since we're such great friends, I made you a friendship string. The friendship string was about 6 inches of tattered yarn, similarly dipped in yellow acrylic paint and sprinkled in what appeared to be sugar. It was fairly disturbing on a level I can't communicate, even after everything else that had transpired in the following days. I had sugar so you can taste it if you get hungry. I hope you like it. Best friend! He seemed proud of himself. I'm gonna keep it. Confused, I took the string out of the rabbit's paw and held it up for a closer look. It looks just as bad up close. I shivered. Something about the string and its strange creator felt deeply wrong. I shook my head slightly. I was being silly. The string was harmless. I tucked the string away into my bag. Thanks? So who are... Hi, I'm Parsnip, and that's my cottage! He jabbed a paw at the nearest cottage, the one with the well-kept daffodil patch in front of it. A small sign with "My Cottage" written on it stood on the path next to it, clearly marking the cottage as someone's cottage. Oh, hi Parsnip, my name's Trixie. Looking for a book that might be around here? Have you heard of The King in Yellow? Wow, I love yellow! Oh wow, it's my favorite color! Oh, okay. Well, it's good that you like yellow. The book, though, do you know it? I don't read books. They're so boring. I'm Parsnip, and I'm a fun bun. Want to come play with me? I tried to distract him. This was getting too weird. I wanted out. Wow, look at that. Pointed into the distance. Person just stared at me. I'd much rather look at you, new friend. Oh, okay. Well, I can't come play with you right now, because, like, I have to find the book for my friend, remember? Wow, that sounds really exciting. You're like a detective. Oh, I mean, it's more of an indebted servitude thing. Wow, cool. That's amazing. Before I could begin to formulate a response, the parsnip, the sound of a cuckoo clock, heard from inside his cottage. It was loud, even from a good 50 foot away. Uh-oh, it's time for trumpet practice. I'll talk to you later, new friend. He merely skipped off into his cottage. Okay, bye. I crossed Parsnip off of my list of potential owners of a forbidden play. She didn't seem like someone who would own anything that required reading. I started to walk down the lane, past the out-of-tune trumpeting blasting from Parsnip's cottage. I'm not convinced he even had the trumpet the right way around. Ready, I tried the next cottage. It didn't look as well kept as Parsnip's, but I could see some art easels set up in the garden which piqued my interest. An artsy person might have a copy of an evil play just to make a statement. Hey, cool, an artist. I can relate to them. I drew a picture once. Is that a baseball bat in some trees? I approached the cottage and caught sight of a rabbit lounging in a desk chair, smoking and drinking wine. Classy. She was tall, stylish, and pretty. I was ready to hype to meet what I assumed to be a famous artist. Either she didn't see me or chose to ignore me. I noticed her cigarette wasn't even lit. Hey, hi. I waved nervously. I wasn't used to talking to professional artists who were probably rich. She tilted her sunglasses down slightly to look at me before pushing them back up. Hello? I trailed off. My head felt light from the heat. I swayed side to side, starting to regret not bringing a drink. Sorry, I don't have any water with me, so I'm a little out of it. Anyway, like, I just walked down from university. Wait, you walked all the way here from the university? Without any water? In this heat? Why are you holding your cigarette like that? I remember letting out a quiet yes and collapsing, but not much else until I woke up a few minutes later. Arma's face was looking down at me from her deck chair. She looked mildly concerned, but apparently not enough to move me from being face down in the dirt. You fainted. Are you okay? I think so. Could I maybe have some water? I brought some out for you already. She motioned towards a glass of wine on the ground beside me. That's wine. Her eye went wide-eyed under her glasses. Okay. Oh, so it is. How did that get there? She picked up the wine and shovelled shamefully into her cottage, returning a few moments later with some tap water. Thanks. I downed the water and felt a little better. It was pretty stupid of me to not bring any with me. I realized I hadn't introduced myself and thought I'd better do it before I became too awkward. Hi. Hello. I didn't do a great job of it. I'm Trixie. La Rose. There was a frosty silence. So, sorry to bother you. It's just, I'm doing someone a favor. They think there's a copy of some playbook around here. The King in Yellow? I can't say I've heard of it. Are you sure your friend didn't say Daffodil Library? You know, the one in town. I really worried she had. No, I'm pretty sure she said Daffodil Lane. I don't know where it could be, though. I asked, Parsnip? Next door? La Rose seemed to grimace at the mention of Parsnip. You spoke to Parsnip. Are you sure? You look like you still have the will to live. I didn't, but that was unrelated. I mean, yeah, a bit? Is he that bad? I mean, he's a little excitable for sure, but... La Rose's blood pressure looked like it was rising rapidly. Go back on topic. I decided it was best to change the subject. Anyway, sorry, the book. You haven't seen it? She shook her head. I don't get out much, though. If it's around here, I probably wouldn't see it. I didn't even realize my neighbors were missing until the police came knocking. Oh jeez, the squirrels, yeah. Didn't it turn out they just went on a cruise to the Pacific Islands because they're rich and got bored? It's on the news for ages. No. I accidentally started the rumor that they just ran off to go on a cruise during the school term. Probably true. They were rich. Rich people do that stuff, right? I don't think she was expecting an answer. Look, I was brainstorming, okay? It's not my fault the police just took that as a fact and ended the investigation immediately. I'm sure they're all fine. The police just dumped all the evidence they collected outside and left. Hey, Cam, right? I'm guessing that means all cops are monsters? All cops are monsters? Okay, good. I'm not supposed to understand that. All cops are messy. Pointed, so you can go poke around in boxes if you want. They wouldn't care. Maybe you'll find your book. Yeah, maybe. Is there anywhere else around here an old playbook might be hiding? There's the woods. They're pretty big. There's bound to be at least one book in there. She faked a big blow of smoke from her cigarette. She's holding it backwards. Or at least she's holding it twisted in a weird that looks like she'd be putting it in her mouth backwards. Though, I'd avoid them if I were you. They're dark, nasty, and no one lives there anyway. Well, I mean, there's a beehive, but they're a bunch of authoritarian jackasses, so they don't really count. I tried to go paint there once, and they got pissy with me, swarm of fake socialist mini-dictators. There's not a whole lot on the road either, besides a sheep field and some fucked up magpie. You know, this place is kind of boring. That's why I moved here, to get some space. But it didn't work. Sorry about Wellstar always used to say space is where you make it. Right. Does that actually mean anything? Or, no, not really. It's from some cartoon. So, wait, where did you used to live before you moved out here, I mean? Town. I teach there. Oh, you're one of the art history lecturers at the uni? Do you teach the Blue Hill art history classes in second year of regional history and culture studies? I do that course. I'm sure I might have seen you around. I teach preschoolers how to use glitter pens. Oops. Anger seemed to burn under her surface. I was worried her wine bottle would shatter in her vice-like grip. They don't appreciate my art. I decided to run away before I said anything else stupid. Well, anyway, sorry to bother you. I'll go take a look at those evidence boxes. Have fun. She went straight back to staring off into the distance, let her get on with it, and headed over to the neighboring cottage. LaRose was right. The police had left the investigation unfinished and just ditched the evidence in a couple of boxes. Fortunately, the summer had been a dry one, and everything seemed to be in good condition. I peered through one of the cottage windows. It was definitely deserted. It's probably a pretty nice place when it was looked after. You could see the occasional bit of half-eaten food laying around on the floor, making a mess of the otherwise cozy middle-class countryside retreat. I started sorting through the box labeled Kitchen 1. Most of it seemed to be old bits of snack packaging and half-eaten food. Gross. Fortunately, most of it was so artificial it wasn't even capable of molding. Interestingly, a DVD copy of Jenny Jason's archery training time for the Game Machine 100 also had a large bite taken out of it, and the toaster seemed to have lick marks on the grill. An entire box of sugar acorns seemed to have been emptied into the box, coating everything in a thin layer of nutritionless dust. Someone had been very hungry. The next box, Kitchen 2, only had a couple of gas canisters inside. I guess they were for the cottage's stove. I don't think Daffodil Lane has much in the way of actual infrastructure. The last box, labeled Kids Room, contained the only real interesting stuff. My eyes went straight towards a small game console and a selection of video games. It's probably one of my favorites, Gun Attack 2. Oh hey, this kid is one of those little fuckers who always screams abuse at me when I try to play that online. Actually, I probably shouldn't refer to a possibly missing kid as a little fucker. That feels a little wrong. There were more sweet wrappers, though. The kid had clearly diversified their diet by eating crisps on special occasions. This kid doesn't seem the type to collect old play scripts. I doubt it would be in here. In fact, I don't think there's a single word in this box that isn't a brand name. There I said this, I realized I was wrong. There were some very obvious words in the box, and I don't know how I missed them before. On a small paper booklet, scrawled and faded felt tip writing read, "There is a monster near the woods." Underneath was a crude scribble vaguely resembling a crouching figure with a woolly thick body and 4 eyes. Some kind of imaginary monster, or maybe a wool suitor. I thought. Oh shit, that's ominous. My handwriting was childlike and shaky. It couldn't have been more than a month old. It was probably written as part of some silly game, I thought. But that didn't stop me from being filled with dread. What was the monster? I realized the message was written on the front of a small scrap of paper booklet. It looked like it had been written and illustrated by the kid. Squirrel Warrior Princess Adventure! Squirrel Warrior Princess was on an adventure to save the Squirrel Princess Dragon. She went through the hills, and there was a monster shaped like a woolly person. Squirrel Warrior Princess shot him with bow and arrows and won. That is how you get what you get if you are my enemy, said Squirrel Warrior Princess, said Squirrel. She drove her car, big car, fast and reached Castle Grimskull. I am here to save you, Squirrel Princess Dragon, said Squirrel Warrior Princess. She went through the castle and used her gun to shoot the bad enemies, and she went up the castle. No one can defeat me. I am the strongest warrior, I said. A skeleton poked out by Squirrel Warrior Princess, punched it, and it fell down and cried, and I laughed at it. That was really brave. Thank you for saving me, said Squirrel Princess Dragon. She flapped her dragon wings. She has dragon wings and can breathe fire, but she is a squirrel. They played video games together, and one sniggle player on Medallion of Honor. The end. Inspiring. I decided it was best to leave before I left much more incriminating DNA on everything. I felt pretty sure I wasn't going to find a play in amongst that junk, and I wasn't breaking into what was technically still a crime scene on Nikita's behalf, so I headed down the lane to the last cottage. I strolled past the sheep field, the silly creatures that were absent-mindedly chewing on grass, as sheep are apt to do. It looked like a refreshingly simple life. So okay, sheep are still animals, but there are animal people? What the fuck? Like, there are bees who are considered people, or at least that's how it read. But the sheep seem to be sheep. The field was overshadowed by a large tree. There seemed to be a few shiny pieces of jewelry trapped high up in the branches. Maybe it was one of La Rose's art pieces? It's to keep the magpies away. Or no, it's made by the magpies. Our nest was perched high up near the top. It looked deserted. This is probably where that fucked up bird La Rose had mentioned lived. The cottage at the end of Daffodil Lane was a bleak building. The windows and door were all boarded up, and the interior was dark. The entire building had an uneasy aura around it. Compared to the scenic surroundings, this place had a septic sore. I remembered the child's creepy message. If there was anywhere near the woods a monster would live, it was here. I was almost relieved to realize I had no way of getting the boarded door open. Oh no, there's no way I can get into this cottage. I am so weak and brittle. I felt a little cowardly, so went out of my way to half-heartedly tug at one of the planks. Fortunately, I had never been strong, and estrogen had further reduced my ability to pull planks off of things. Hell yeah, trans mouse. Well, that was conclusive. I can't possibly get these off with my weak little arms. Like, I assumed so because of the description of growing breasts. But I was like, well, maybe she's just late to develop her. I'm not going to make my ideas clear early. I almost used this as an excuse to get out of doing Nikita's busy work, but without her help, I knew I'd failed my coursework. I wasn't going to go home a failure. I will forever regret not taking the excuse. I should get a crowbar or something. I think that's how people get planks off of things in, like, games and stuff. I'll head to town. I'm sure I can find some boring old person shop that sells tools there. I dusted off my hands and started my hike back to town, somewhat regretting never learning to ride a bike. The monster near the woods would have to wait. It was a long walk back to town. Still, the exercise was probably good for me. I hadn't spent much time in town since moving to Blue Hills. It's too loud and busy for me. I was looking for a tool shop or something when I noticed a small shop called Heidi's. The window was a big poster, all crowbars half price. That was convenient for sure. The shop seemed empty. You should buy some water too. Hello? Is anyone here? Nothing. There was a door behind the counter, slightly ajar. I guess it led to an office or something. Maybe the owner is in there. Look around the shop. I guess I'll just wait a while. Buy some water. Looking around the shop, it seemed to sell everything. Magazines, tools, sweets. The pricing on everything seemed to be almost random. I had no idea how Heidi was running the shop in this way. Took a look at the vending machine in the corner. It didn't have a window, so I had no idea what was in stock. I gave it a tap. Squawk! Huh. Before I could think too hard about what had happened, I noticed a cute Cyber-Dracul Yasun space plushie, the only bit of official merchandise ever produced for the show. They'd been taken off market because they contained lead, but it looked like Heidi hadn't gotten the memo. Hey, don't break that! I dropped the plushie back onto its shelf. A hyena had stepped through the door to the break room. Either her spots were dyed red or she was splattered in blood. I assumed this must have been Heidi. Sorry, aren't those, like, toxic, though? Jeez, who are you, the PC police? She smirked. I think she was trying to make a joke. Also, I think your vending machine yelled at me. Yep, it does that. Anyway. Welcome to Heidi's. How may I help you today? It only looked and sounded extremely forced. I saw the poster for crowbars. Could I get one? It was an exceptionally fake laugh. I was a little worried I was being mocked. Sorry, kid. I sold out a few hours ago. Unlucky. I'd overstocked. Typed an extra 3 zeros into the supplier site. I ended up with 2,000 of things. I had to start selling them off dirt cheap, but then the supplier just bought them all back. Guess they want to resell them. Still, I made a good profit on it. Ha ha ha, those suckers. What are these facial expressions? She paused for a moment, doubt flashing across her face. She started counting on her fingers, her grin quickly turning into a frown. She recounted, and then recounted again. Those fuckers, I made a 4,000-pound loss. Mr. Crowbar is a fucking dead. She seemed to remember I was there. Anyway, you want a crowbar, right? What for? You don't look like the DIY type. No offense. It was a little offensive. Though admittedly very true. I need to break open a door. I realized that probably sounded pretty suspicious, so I tried to defuse the situation. I'm not a burglar. It's my door. A strange mix of resignation and confusion appeared on her face. You accidentally boarded up your own door? Okay, I'm breaking into a house, but it's abandoned. It's urban exploration. Albeit in this case, very rural. Oh, sweet. I don't give a fuck about that. I just don't want to end up complicit in breaking into someone's house and kicking them to death. I was relieved she was going to let me have her crowbar, but also slightly offended that I apparently looked like a very inefficient murderer. Heidi dashed through the door behind the counter and quickly reappeared with a crowbar. These are one of my personal crowbars, and I need my other, so if you somehow break it, don't come begging for a replacement. I don't offer warranties. That's 15 pounds. I rooted through my pockets and realized I'd forgotten my wallet. All I had was about 3 pounds in coins and a Demon trading card, which was a little odd since I don't even collect those. I kind of forgot my money. You forgot you need money to pay for things at shops? Yeah, I guess. Do you accept trading cards? She didn't look amused. She drummed her fingers on the counter for a moment. Okay, whatever. What if you owe me a favor? I hoped this wasn't going to be a weird sex thing. It's not a weird sex thing! Don't make that face, pervert. I suddenly resented my naturally pervy face. I wasn't thinking that. What was it you did want? Nothing crazy, just helping me sort some extra stock. Usually I have to do it myself, but 2 hands are better than 1, right? Of course, you'll have to sign an NDA. Or not. What do I care? I have a taser! It didn't sound very exciting, but I needed the crowbar, so I didn't have much choice. Okay, as long as it was just something small and legal. Another unconvincing laugh. I think it was supposed to sound friendly? Yeah, it's fine. It's small. It's legal. You just tried to fake a reassuring laugh? Fuck off. It was real. Give me your number so I can get a hold of you. I gave her my number, hoping I wasn't about to end up crossing any borders with 5 kilos of counterfeit electronics hidden in my clothes, because I knew I'd be too awkward to say no to that. Great. I'll give you a call when I need you. I prefer it to texting. Easier to shout. And don't try to get away for free. I have a taser. She put her hand out for a handshake. I guess she wanted to seal the deal. I limply shook it with my puny little arm. Sure. Thanks for the crowbar. I guess I'll see you soon. Left the shop armed with a crowbar, reflecting on how it seemed to operate entirely on a favor-based system these days. Oh well, I thought. It was cheap. I was pretty hungry, as I walked through town, my eyes were drawn to a small shop called Greg's Bakery. You have snacks in your bag! Alright. That is time. This is very cute. I'm not normally a furry fan, but I find it was really adorable. So yeah, if you guys like this, let me know. Maybe I'll do it as a series later on, if I have time, because I'll be starting work on Monday, and I have no idea how that's going to affect everything else in my life. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you tomorrow for some random horror games. Alright, adios.